Yo, yo, yo. Only my brothers at Creative Minneapolis. We got DJ Ray Mills in the house.
What's good?
Man, one of the best DJs in the country, in the state. Living, breathing. Just sitting here in our studio. Just a big clap up for you, man, and a shout out to you, G. For real, man. And real quick, I just want to know how your journey been, brother. Like, how you been living?
It's been good. It's been real good. You know what I mean? Like, it was 10 years in January that I've been in the game. So, you know, the last year kind of been probably, I would say, the roughest. But I mean, everybody's went through it in the last year with COVID and all that stuff. So, I ain't by myself with it. So, but it's been a good journey, man. I've traveled throughout my career. I've you know, done a lot of different things I never thought DJing would bring me to life. So,
Okay. All right, that's good, brother. What has been like the biggest party you have DJ'd ever since this COVID been going on? Let's start with that.
so like, what has, as far as
Like, as far as this last year.
like what, you know, just trying to get back to it, and it doesn't really help when the government shut down, open up, you know, all that type of stuff. So I'm kind of just rolling with the punches, but you know, right now stuff kind of getting back to normal. So it's really, you know what I mean, just dealing with what everybody else is dealing with, getting back to square one, getting back to work.
Okay, what inspires you to keep being a DJ?
You know, I look at like some of the bigger DJs, you know, Khaled, Jazzy Jeffs, like them type of people. Some even people that inspire me that are locally, man. Like just getting to that next level, breaking through that next glass ceiling, you know what I mean? And I'm still young, I'm 29, so it's like, you know, I got time.
Okay. Do you see yourself as a leader in your community?
I do. You know, a lot of people look up to what I do, and you know what I mean? I do a lot of positive things, you know. I try to talk positive to everybody. So, you know, I definitely feel like a leader. You know, I've definitely helped a lot of people out, giving them pointers and things that I don't even condone in, you know what I mean? But just to keep them going.
Okay, now recently when I looked at your bio, brother, I seen that you had a chance to work with Go Radio 95.3.
Yeah.
You got to work with Crave, which is an American and kitchen and sushi bar, Victoria's Secret, and Wildin' Out.
Yeah.
So by each one, can you just tell me how was it from the start?
I mean, so, you know, working at Crave's kind of like, you know, they got their restaurant and they have nightlife. So they just brought me in as being a DJ. I worked with a couple promoters that we had a Friday night, Saturday night. I've been there for some years now, so you know what I mean. You know, just building the nightlife up and keeping them going, bringing money to them. You know what I mean, bringing a nightlife experience to a restaurant. Just for that. Then you know, Victoria's Secret. You know, one thing about me, I never thought that like DJing would bring me into a clothing store. Like, you know, when you think of a DJ, you think of partying, and you know what I mean, that type of stuff. So, me, I never thought that I would play in stores like Victoria's Secret. I played in Villa, I played in Studio 23, I played in multiple stores and grand openings and stuff like that. So that, I think that's a cool thing, and it's more so, you know, you're kind of a prop in the mix. You know, you add to the vibe. You know, yeah, uplifting music to get people going and shopping and all that stuff. So, and then the Wildin' Out thing, that was probably one of the coolest gigs I ever had. They did a tour, so they went multiple cities doing the show, and they had people from that whatever city they were in on the show, and we were doing, they were trying to get some girls to be the Wild 'N Out girls, and the director of it, she was like, I need a DJ for the show tomorrow, while I was there just doing the runway stuff that they were doing. And I was like, really? And she's like, yeah. Hired me, and I didn't realize that it was a sold out thing at the Target Center. So like, I get there, I'm like, whoa, I'll be on the stage like with all these people.
Okay.
And so I get there, and it was a full blown like 15,000 people. Like, that was a cool thing. And there's cameras on me. I had to talk on the mic, be active. You know what I mean? And that was fun. And then I did the after party with Nick Cannon. And he was a really, really good dude, you know, and he's a very activist type of person.
Okay.
And very positive person. So that was a cool gig, man. I really liked that.
Man, brother, it seems like you accomplished a lot working with them people.
There's a lot more to accomplish, though.
How does it feel like just coming from how you started to working with them big corporations?
Man, it's been a grind. I mean, so the last 10 years. And it's in this game, I would say it's really about who you know is a big factor, but also skill comes with that too. Like, you know, I put my skills up to par. Like, you know, I feel like I can play in front of a lot of different crowds. You know, I feel like I can play to someone that's hanging out with their kids at a barbecue, to someone that's dancing to Latin music in a club, to someone that's at a hip hop club, to someone that's coming to a Vikings game and wanting to hear an experience before they go into the game. You know, I feel like I could play to someone at their wedding. I could play to a lot of different crowds. I never limit myself with that. So it's just, you know, knowing people, having a good skill, being open-minded about stuff, you know, that's kind of got me a long way. So
Yeah. You mentioned that the Vikings.
Yeah.
Now, real quick, I heard you was DJing for the Vikings. How was that, and are you still like in connection with them?
Yeah,
Or
that's been a good gig to have. I've been working with them for like 5-6 years now.
that's a
And
blessing.
it started as like doing some small stuff, like at high schools, working kids out, just playing music in the background with a mascot, a couple cheerleaders. I started with EJ Henderson, and then like the mascot hit me up like, we need a DJ for the Purple Gala. It was like the first ever event in US Bank when they built it, and I did that, and it was a 2-day thing, and it was invite only, red carpet. Then they had a mint condition, Jennifer Hudson, Eden, Cirque du Soleil perform while they eat dinner, and I was doing the after party inside of there. Then that led to them asking me to do some games on the field, doing warm-ups while the players warm up, being at the games, and that's just an experience itself, you know, being on the field, just in a huge stadium, you know, with 40, 50,000 people, being on the Jumbotron, and, you know, that's a big thing, and that's one gig I really appreciate, and that's very fun, and, you know what I mean, a good thing to have, especially being from Minnesota. And I also, when I first started DJing, I used to go to Timberwolves games, and they always had the Timberwolves had DJs, and I was like, I want to be the Vikings DJ. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it kind of like drove its way to that on its own. Like I never looked for it. It came, like kind of naturally came. So like that was a blessing, and it still is a blessing. And I'm waiting for this COVID to be over to get back up in there. So.
Man, when was that first shot that you got when you first started DJing, and like how did that feel knowing that you got that first shot?
This first shot is like as in just anywhere.
Yeah, just anywhere like that sugar rush, like you take a bite of some candy, like oh,
Yeah.
you there.
Yeah. So I mean, really like my first couple, I started DJing in like Mankato doing college parties with my friend Chris. He's passed away now, RP my guy Chris, but that was my best friend. Yeah. But he wanted to do this thing called Campus Invasion in Mankato. We threw a party, and we had a bunch of people from the city like join in on the party, host a party. I had another DJ with me. Like it was my first ever gig outside the house. You know what I mean? So that was really, I would say that it was it, and it was packed. And then, you know, we started doing a couple parties down there, and, you know, people started hearing about it up here, traveling from Minneapolis to Mankato. And, you know, that was really like that first, you know, getting out there was down there. And then it led to me getting booked in the cities a little bit. And that was really like, you know, what kind of started things off for my career.
Okay. Now, coming from that, I heard you got a chance to be a DJ for French Montana and them, or you got to do some work with them, or...
Yeah, that was like, them were like my first like concerts opening for them. Like, so basically, they would come perform, I'll be the opening DJ and stuff like that. There is some artists that I've DJ'd for, played their sets for, like Kid Ink back in the day. I've DJ'd a set for Fab.
You did Kid Ink?
Yeah, that was like one of my
Tell
first
me the
concerts.
experience about Kid Ink real quick. Cause he's, man, back...
Yeah, so I did that. I was actually in Iowa. I traveled down to Iowa. He didn't have a DJ, so when I got the sound check, he's like, you know, he gave me the flash drive, and I had all this music. We rehearsed the set, and I played his set for him. Then I ran into him in Houston. And he remembered me.
Oh, okay,
So it was like,
okay,
that was
okay.
like dope. You know, some artists just, you know, they forget people because they do a lot of shows and meet a lot of people. So I get that. But, you know, he remembered me. And then he came up to Minnesota, had another show, and he came to Aqua, and I was playing this Sunday, and we linked up again, and that was cool. So, you know, playing for artists is a dope thing. Usually they have their own DJs, but, you know, sometimes if they have a smaller show, they just travel with, like, their manager and stuff, and they'll give whatever DJ's playing music, and then I'll end up playing their set for them or whatever that case may be. So, you know, I've definitely opened for a ton of artists, met a lot of artists, and you know what I mean, and you know, had good experiences. Some are just, you know, shake hands,
Yeah.
keep it pushing. Some will talk to you, show love to you, you know what I mean, whatever the case may be at the time. But definitely had some good experiences with bigger artists that are out there.
What has been one of the biggest artists you work with in Minnesota right now? Do you
Minnesota, right now, I would say I'm
know?
working.
Or recently, or back then. It doesn't
Right,
matter.
yeah. I mean, I worked with like a couple years ago. I worked with Mac Herb. I did a lot of shows with him. We did Soundset together.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That was one of the artists that I was working with for a good while, DJing his sets and that type of stuff. There's not really been an artist that has been like my artist.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That I've like, you know, pushed. But like I work with my homies. They're called On Our Own. Jordan Beats and Loki. And my homie Andre. You know, I work with them. But you know, I try to support everybody in their music, whether it's spending it at the club, sharing a link, you know, stuff like that. So, you know, but right now I'm just, you know, I push myself, but, you know, if artists need me in any kind of way, I'm always there to help, you know what I mean? But I would like to, you know, I kind of work with On Our Own, like I'm their DJ, but, so, you know, if they go on tour or something like that, I'm gonna be there right with them right there. So that I would consider myself their DJ, but
You said On Their Own?
On Our Own.
On Our Own. When did they first get associated?
So they've been working for like a couple of years, 3-4 years, you know, really as a collective. And they're all kind of like one producer and artist and another artist, and so, you know, they kind of do their thing, and I'm always around, so, you know what I mean? I was spinning their music when I'm out and all that stuff, so.
Man, what's your plans for the summer?
Summer, man. Summer, just to get back in a regularly working,
Yeah.
regularly working, you know, fashion again. Like,
Yeah.
you know, not having to worry about the clothes again and that type of stuff, man. I'm just, you know, trying to take it. It's really like week by week with this COVID stuff, you know what I mean? I'm still waiting for places to open, you know what I mean? I really want to get back on the traveling wave, so I like DJing in other places, man.
How was it just like traveling as a DJ?
Traveling is fun because you know, playing here, I kind of, you know, I've been here for the majority of my whole life. So when you go DJ somewhere else, you get to see a different vibe, a different crowd. You know.
How many cities you been to?
I've DJed in Mexico. I've DJed in California. I've DJed in Las Vegas. I've DJed in New York, Memphis, Tennessee, Chicago. I DJed in Chicago quite a bit.
Okay.
Texas.
Mills, your ass on fire with the, you know, you everywhere,
I mean,
man.
Before COVID, it was definitely going to be like, I was going to have some residencies out of town and stuff like that. COVID definitely put a damper on things, but, you know, it still could happen, man, if you just keep pushing through it.
It's definitely a blessing to keep pushing, no matter what. Don't stop.
Yeah, man.
Keep that hope. I heard you a father.
Yeah.
Actually, congratulations.
Appreciate that.
And by how many kids you got?
I got 2 daughters, Ayala and Malia. They're 3 and 5, so they're growing kids, and, you know, I'm a regularly father, so it's kids and work for me. That's my life.
Do you have any plans for the youth or any wisdom you can tell to your community?
For sure, you know, just like I said, keep going, you know what I mean? I always tell people, like, I went to school to be an electrician right out of high school. You know, I play basketball and sports, I skateboard, I snowboard, you know. You know, I always say keep your open, be open-minded, you know, like you never know, like everyone looks at, the schools teach you to be, you know, the normal jobs, you know, the doctors, the lawyers, the firefighters, the cops, and you know what I mean? I never thought I would be a DJ and being in this market, seeing like being on the radio and seeing people be successful being on the radio, seeing people be executive producers and you know, all type of stuff, and A&Rs, and like you can be successful at a lot of different things. Like, you know, there's DJs that started as DJs now that work for record labels and get artists on, and you know what I mean? It's just, I think deeper than just being a DJ. So it's like, you know, think deeper than being the normal for life, you know, just think outside the box. There's a lot of jobs and opportunities in different kind of ways that you never think of, things that schools don't teach you, you know. So
Do you
I
think?
would give that to the youth. Just think outside the box. Think of jobs that the schools don't teach you. That's what I would love to teach kids. Is you know what I mean. I've been pretty successful as being a DJ, and it's brought me to different places in the world. It's brought me to different jobs I never thought I could have. Being on the radio, coming from just being in the clubs. You know what I mean. Being on the field at the Vikings or at a Victoria's Secret store. I never thought DJing could bring me to those different places, but I just kept going, and those things came along.
Yeah. Like, man, that's like a real big impact. Just me seeing alone,
Yeah.
me being a young person, and then me seeing you working, and just turning a hobby into a work ethic, and that turned into a career.
Yeah.
And now I think as like black people and like as a black community and as a whole, we need to know that our talents is going to get us far.
Yeah.
And I just want to ask you real quick, how do you feel being like a black man in America? Like,
I mean, I feel good always, to be honest, because whatever happens in this world, only thing we can do is roll with the punches.
yeah,
We could try to change it as much as we can, and until it changes, we gotta, be strong, roll with the punches, keep our heads high, you know what I mean, and smile. I smile every day, no matter what's going on in the world.
right, right.
Or in my personal life, I'm always smiling.
Any type of shout outs you trying to give?
Man, shout out to everybody, my family, my friends, everybody that supported. Thank you to everybody. Shout out to you.
Thank you.
Only my brothers. I appreciate you having me on here too. I haven't done an interview in a while, so I'm glad you hit me up to do it, man.
Yeah.
I had to do that for you.
I feel like it's time that people start seeing the face
Yeah.
of what's hope and what's love instead of seeing what's negative, because we need to be able to have leaders and icons.
Yeah.
And I feel like you just being you, it's bred it in you. Like, you coming from nothing and making it into something not a lot of people can do.
Right.
And you sitting in this seat in this room, this energy, you could just tell like you're not a quitter. You're always just a winner. Like, you are a person that keep faith and hope.
Yeah.
And I applaud you for that.
I appreciate that. That's the only thing you can keep is faith and hope, and keep going, keep the drive going.
Man. Yeah, but y'all know only my brother's here with DJ Ray Mills. We gonna have him soon back in the building. And we here at Creative Minneapolis. Come check us out. And yep, we gone from here on from out. Deuce.